3 years ago, I made these, life-size Anurognathus, but I didn't quite achieve the realism I had in mind. They're still a little too Muppety. What's the difference between this and a real-life animal? That's the gap we need to close. Let's find out. Starting with the sculpt, there's a few improvements to be made here. A less symmetrical pose, less bat-like wings, but most importantly, those teeth. Too big, too few, no oral tissue. These new teeth are a big improvement, and I printed quite a few of these. After printing, they get post-cured with UV light. Make sure not to look at it. And now it's time to get to work. First, I need to make a rubber mask using 2-part silicone putty. When combined, the putty will cure into a solid rubber. All mixed, we've got 2 minutes to get this on before it starts to cure. This mask is going to be used for painting the inside of the mouth. Now we wait for 20 minutes. And we're ready to paint. I'm starting with a light colored primer, which will help paint adhere to the surface and be a good base color so the pinks really pop. Now I can use the mask again and again. And the paint peels right off. I let the primer set for a day as is recommended. Now I gotta match this mouth color to my reference, based on a potu bird. These may look ridiculous, but don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Next, I'm doing the wings with a lighter tan and darker accent color. Now I'm mixing up an almost black color to do the wing pattern, which I stole from these tail feathers. This isn't looking quite right. Let's add some balancing clear for a more transparent effect. Now it has more of a gradient. I think that looks more natural. Now I can put down my airbrush for a brush. I'm building up a lighter pink here on the tongue and roof of the mouth. Then I'm going in with the dark wash. And finally, some white dry brushing. The last step are these adorable little teeth. And there they are. Look at all these friendly smiles. There are 2 color schemes here, the red and the brown. Next, it's time to flock. I'm using static grass for the picno fibers. Now I'm applying basing glue where I want the flocking to stick. Connect the ground wire and power up the static charge. Look at all that lush fuzz, and this huge mess. We'll save this for later. And switch to the darker and final color. It really does look like grass, which is what it's supposed to look like. Don't be conservative with that basing glue. If you don't put enough on, it dries out too quickly. All these fibers are sticking up, so we need to brush some natural direction into the fur. This is also very soothing for the Anurognathus. I also tried this applicator for some larger whiskers, but I only did this on 2 models. Now I need another mask, this time to protect the inside of the mouth. Little arrow to indicate which way's up, and I'm trimming off the rubber behind the teeth. Oh look, it's truly scrumptious. She's a long-haired miniature dachshund. Would you like to be a reference? This thing has wrecked my work-life balance. Speaking of work, who needs it? Let's take a look at today's sponsor, the Elegoo Saturn IV Ultra. This has all the features I loved from the Mars Ultra, but in a Saturn size, and as a tilting hood. The Saturn series is the perfect size for me, because I can print 2 large models at the same time, and now much faster thanks to the tilting vat. Like twice as fast. This is because the build plate no longer needs to pull away from the bottom of the vat, saving precious seconds on every layer. I saved around 5 hours printing my Pachyrhinosaurus. The build plate's automatic leveling means it's ready to go right out of the box. Each layer is made by an impressive 12K resolution screen, and the print is monitored by an AI camera to detect support failures and record the printing process, accompanied by many more high-tech sensors that can detect if the vat is overfilled or running out of resin. It even has a Wi-Fi antenna for wireless printing, and has a convenient touchscreen menu, full of features like tank cleaning. Everything about the Saturn IV Ultra is user-friendly, which I appreciate. Adding supports to your models is easy with the included Chitu Box and Chitu Box Pro. It'll automatically add supports and show you the areas that need additional support, which can be added with a single click. Once you start printing, it's hard to stop. There is a gap around the back of this style of hood, so to lessen resin fumes, I made a simple lid for when I'm not printing. Either way, you should exhaust fumes from the space you're printing in. Thank you to Elegoo for sponsoring this video. Now where were Dachshund? Okay, it's time to paint the filamentous integument. Oh, look at that red. Airbrushing flocking is very forgiving. No paint splatters here. I couldn't decide on a pattern, so each one's unique. Now it's time to do the brown ones. Now I want to add in some off-white, like this Potu's chest. I'm liking this one. This white Potu inspired me to try an owl face. The red ones need some white too. Here's how they're coming along so far. I'm going to add some transparent orange next to help blend in the white. I'm calling this one Tiger. This one's named Dot. This one's named String of Pearls. And this one's named Studson Studios. And let's bring some of that orange onto the wings to tie it all together. Same with the brown ones. And I'm adding a gray color to the feet. And here they are. The fur is all finished. Now we can paint the eyelids. I'm doing a base color and a highlight on the upper lid. Nice. Now I'm adding a dark wash, which I really should have done before flocking. There, that looks a lot less flat. Now for a quick clear coat. Shake the can. Spray and pan. Now we're done. And it's time for the eyes. An older me would have used these glass cabochons. And that's what I did. Everything was going smoothly. But the newer me couldn't shake the feeling something was wrong. All that time, all these years, I never escaped that Muppety look. It was always right behind me, mocking me with its gleeful little grin. I'm not gonna let it happen. I know what I need to do. I'm gonna start by making a mold to get the right size. But this time, I'm sculpting in a 3-dimensional pupil and iris. Then I made a mold of that and filled that with a snake of clay to make our final castings. Now I can make copies. Not only is this going to have the right amount of depth, but it's a lot easier to add details. And I can add the pupil by filling this hole with paint. Now I'm adding some UV resin from Let's Resin. I'm using the same bottle from all these videos. I told him don't send me any more. It goes a long ways. Spread that out with a toothpick. The surface tension makes this really easy. A little UV light, or sunshine, and they're cured. I think these are gonna work. The first eye I sculpted had a frog-shaped pupil, but I wasn't sure if I liked it, so I made a normal one. Now I have half and half. Now, I have to do an eye transplant. I'm applying some water to loosen the acrylic. Give the patient something to bite down on. Now, this is just gonna feel like a little pinch. Now we just gotta scrape out the leftover paint. For whatever reason, the castings came out a little bigger than the original sculpt, so each one needs to be hand trimmed to fit, and sanded. But look at the results. I think it was worth it. Here's the before and after. And frog pupil versus round. Which one looks better? I think I like the frog ones. And finally, some gloss to make the mouth look moist. This is the last step because the flocking likes to stick to gloss finishes. We've come a long ways. I'm no longer a Muppet maker. Now let's put these things in their natural habitat. Just kidding. The real reveal. I wasn't joking about my puppy ruining my life, which is why this video took so long to make, among other things. So I have to give an extra big shout out to all of my patrons. Thank you. These guys will be available on Etsy if you're interested in adopting one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.